Thank you, Luke. And Luke is not only a fabulous local member, he's also a man who served our country and a man who understands deeply the importance of both defence cooperation, national and diplomacy. He also, and don't tell Chris Bowen this, but I think he speaks the best Bahasa in the caucus. So I also am very pleased to be here with my friend and colleague Brendan O'Connor, who's will speak shortly about some defence issues, and also Pat Conroy, who has done a power of work in the Pacific and has done a great job in doing the detailed policy work, much of which we are announcing today. So Australians understand this is a time of risk. They understand it's a time of uncertainty, and they want a government that does the work to keep them safe. They want a leader they can trust to do the job. But they got Mr Morrison, the bloke who just keeps dropping the ball. The bloke who just keeps dropping the ball, the bloke who went missing while China negotiated and signed a security deal on our doorstep, and the bloke who didn't order enough vaccines or rats and then told us that we're at the front of the queue, the bloke who doesn't hold a hose, and the bloke who never takes responsibility. What I would say to you and to Australians today is, if elected, Labor will do the work. We understand the region is being reshaped. We know the first priority of government is to secure the nation. And this means we have to secure our region. We have to build a stronger Pacific family. And this is why an Albanese Labor Government will restore Australia's place as the partner of choice in the Pacific. We will deploy and integrate all the elements of national power: defence, strategic, diplomatic and economic. And this is important. We will leverage Australia's strengths. We will leverage Australia's strengths. We understand we are in a time of competition, so you have to look to your competitive advantage. The power of Australia's voice, the power of our proximity, the power of our people-to-people relationships and the power of our economic relationships. This is how you work to secure the region, and this is what this package does. So today I can announce that an Albanese Labor Government will boost official development assistance to the Pacific countries and Timor-Leste by $525 million over the next 4 years. This will help address the decade worth of development gains that have been lost due to the pandemic and due to coalition cuts. This funding of $525 million to the Pacific and Timor-Leste over the next 4 years will be used to expand existing projects and to develop new projects. And there is an event later today which we can show you some of what this money can be used for the betterment of the region and to ensure stronger relationships between Australia and countries of the region. We will work with our Pacific family to support specific projects that deliver real change in areas of health, economic growth, education, climate change adaptation and resilience. I also announce that, unlike the coalition, we will restore Australia's leadership on climate change. We will establish a Pacific Climate Infrastructure Financing Partnership to support climate and clean energy projects in the Pacific. And this is, of course, in addition to our bid to host a future conference of the parties in conjunction with our Pacific partners. I know Mr Morrison doesn't like to listen, and he certainly doesn't like to act when he has heard something. Pacific Island leaders have made absolutely clear that their number one national security and economic challenge is climate change. And what has Australia under this government given them? They've given them the climate wars. They've given them Mr Dutton making a joke about water lapping at their doorsteps, and Mr Morrison thumbing his nose at them. I can also announce that an Albanese Labor Government will reform the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme and expand the labour scheme. Now, this is an example of us using the power of proximity to secure our region. And I will turn to Pat shortly to address that. We will also establish a new permanent visa arrangement for eligible Pacific Islanders and their families to strengthen and grow our people-to-people links. Labor will draw on the strengths of who we are. We are a respectful, generous and reliable nation. We are a country that many Pacific Islanders call home and that will always step up in times of need. We are a partner that will invest in the long-term stability and prosperity of our region, and we are a partner that will actually listen to and strengthen the Pacific family.